Let's take a moment to review. When it comes to identifying stakeholders, we need to keep in mind that stakeholders can be individuals, groups, or organizations, and that stakeholders can be those that we define as either being affected by the project, those affecting the project, and those who perceive themselves as being affected by the project, whether or not we necessarily agree with that sentiment. By working to identify stakeholders as early as possible, we put ourselves in a better position to plan the work of business analysis. Brainstorming and organizational charts can be very helpful in identifying potential stakeholders and showing us some of the techniques or documents or materials that we can turn to in order to identify even more stakeholders until we have a comprehensive list in place. When considering stakeholder traits, perhaps first and foremost is the attitude of each stakeholder to the project. Determining who supports and who opposes the project leads to a much more informed analysis, and understanding root causes of resistance can lead to a better collection of requirements taking place. For business analysts, knowing why certain stakeholders are resistant to the project is just as valuable, if not more so, than the support that can be offered by those who are already in favor of it. Other stakeholder traits that are important to consider include stakeholder culture and experience, because they may impact their perspective on how business analysis should take place and what its role might be within the organization and how they should participate within it, as well as for the project under consideration. This includes not just experience within their own work, but also with the organization at large and with elicitation and other analysis processes in the past. Geospatial factors may influence how elicitation can be conducted. After all, if our team is spread around the world, it may be very difficult for us to get them into the same room for a giant focus group including everyone. Instead, if we want one-on-one interviews, we might need to conduct these by phone or by video conference, or we might need to go to them in order to make that happen. Even for those located in the same space, the responsibilities of daily life within companies typically mean that they won't be available at your every whim. Instead, you'll need to work within the schedules of many different individuals to find times that are best for both individuals and groups to meet with you for elicitation purposes. Determining the level of complexity regarding groups of stakeholders helps to inform the appropriate level of detail for any future work that should take place, as well as for our analysis now. Potential sources of complexity include not just the number of members in a group or where these members might be located, but also who is impacted and how severely they might be impacted by either analysis or by the project itself, as well as the variance in needs that stakeholders feel they bring to the table for a solution that might touch many departments or different roles within a company. Once we've considered these stakeholder traits, we can begin to group them for planning purposes. Job analysis can help analysts to better understand the roles that are associated with and impacted by analysis and the project. Oftentimes, these take the form of job descriptions that could be used to hire for the roles, and in some cases might actually be used for that purpose. We can refer not only to organizational charts, but also other human resource assets, where available, that give us a technical, formal definition of what a role is meant to entail. In addition to this, though, persona analysis is even more important. This can help analysts understand stakeholder points of view, not just what their responsibilities are on paper, but what their daily experience within the company might be. It can also help to inform lines of questioning and shape analysis work. Persona analysis often goes by the name user stories, and we can use these to not only understand, but become champions of those who will be most greatly impacted by what it is we are investigating. Persona analysis also commonly goes by the name user stories. By personifying these and truly being able to stand in the shoes of another, we can not only understand but become champions for that point of view and for the needs of those who are going to be most greatly impacted by the subjects that we're investigating. Once we've grouped our stakeholders together in a meaningful way, we can begin compiling the results of our analysis so that we can move forward into elicitation. Oftentimes, these results are shared with and built in collaboration with the project manager, project management team, the sponsor, and perhaps other key stakeholders. That's because the same type of information will be very valuable to their roles in the project as well. However, we must remember that there may be some sensitive information here. Effective stakeholder analysis leads to knowing who to ask what when compiling our requirements. And once we've met that threshold, we can feel comfortable moving on into elicitation and other processes, understanding that we may need to come back and reevaluate and update this information as time progresses. In the next module, we're going to look at the relationship between business analysis and project management at large. Not just how planning interacts between the two of these, but also how the subject areas themselves are tied together, and how we can build our analysis to most effectively facilitate successful projects in the future. I look forward to seeing you then.